Hello everybody and welcome to Vicky, Pattison, The Secret To. This week I'm joined by none other than Crystal Queen, TikTok sensation and all-round mega babe. It's Georgina Easterbrook, everybody. Woo!
Hi, thank you for having me.
Oh my God, babe, don't be daft. Thank you so much for coming on. Obviously I've spoken loads about how much I love being able to call this me job, you know, sitting and chatting to interesting people every week is just a dream come true for me because I'm such a fucking nosy cow. But I feel like I'm really excited about you because I know very little about this space. I'm super interested by it and you are blown up on TikTok, mate. So I feel like that's the right way to say it. I'm so old. I don't know if that's how you cool kids say it. But yeah, I feel like so everybody is interested and it's a proper movement now, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, TikTok's been such a wild journey for me, honestly. And the fact that I get to sit and talk about something I'm really passionate about, like you say, every day for a job is just unbelievable.
But how did you get into it, mate? Because let's have it right. If you're going to say your sort of careers advisor at school, like Crystal Queen doesn't often pop up, does it? So how did you first start believing in the powers of crystals? How did you fall into what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a really wild journey for me. I mean, I've always been not massively into crystals, knowing much about them, but I've always been drawn to them, like growing up, like when I've been going through hard times, I've kind of gone into a crystal shop and picked up some bits, but mainly just from looking at it, not knowing too much about it. And then I've always kind of worked minimum wage, like shop jobs. I've been in like Debenhams, New Look, like you name it, I've done it.
Oh, I love a bit of New Look.
Yes, yeah, me too. Not so much I've been looking there. Work for a bargain every now and then. But I did makeup retail for a really long time, like working like Chanel, Bobbi Brown, like the concessions like that. And then during lockdown, like a lot of other people, I lost my job, the shop shut down, and I was a bit like, what am I going to do now? And I was in a really bad place mentally at the time. Like, you know, it all just happens at once. Like I'd just gone through a really bad breakup, in a very nice relationship. I was struggling with an eating disorder at the time. I just had a really low opinion of myself. I didn't love my job. I kind of felt a bit lost. And that kind of threw me down a massive spiral of, I was in such a low place. I wanted to know about the mind, how it worked, like positive thinking. And I was basically relearning everything, just how to be happy. And along that journey kind of drew me back into crystals and actually wanting to learn more about them, what they do. And since learning more about it, I was like, wow, this could really change actually so many people's lives, which is why I ended up making the TikTok account. And obviously people wanted to hear it. So that's really good.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, babe. And I think it's lovely that you've managed to parlay something that helped you, something that you are passionate about, into something, you know, that not only like makes you money or whatever is a way of life, but also is helping others too.
Yeah, that makes me feel like I have a purpose of some kind, like to be able to share with the people and see it help them. That makes me feel so happy. Yeah.
I read something somewhere and I'm going to say it wrong because I'm not an expert, but it's like what you should have something that like feeds your soul, something that like feeds your bank account, something that like feeds your mind, you know, all those things. And it sounds to me as though what you're doing kind of ticks all the boxes for you, which is great.
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine, right? Don't even imagine that I'm like useless at this because I am. I want to know more, but I just don't have any knowledge of the crystals at all. So imagine you're talking to someone who knows nothing about crystals. Hello. And describe like what you think a crystal does, like what it's different ones have different healing powers. Is that right?
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously to address, like there'll probably be a lot of kind of skeptics about it, and that's absolutely fine. And to me at first, I was kind of in that same boat, but to break it down to look at simplistic form, if you look at like the power that nature has for us on like a daily basis, like look at how much we need water, oxygen, all these things that come from plants and just natural forms, it doesn't seem shocking to me that rocks would have some kind of impact on us as humans. And so these are all stones that have formed on their own through like billions of years of a process, meaning they have like very high energy in them, and they've been used through many kind of cultures, generations, to bring about different healing powers. But yeah, basically it's that each crystal has its own set of energetic properties which then define how they can help you in different areas of your life. Some are really good for wealth, some are really good for confidence, attracting love, and that's what I found fascinating about it.
Oh, I'm not surprised. And listen, mate, like I'm a firm believer that everybody needs something to believe in, and absolutely don't mind what it is, whether it's a football team, whether it's a crystal, whether it's a man in the sky, like whatever it is. Like, I think it's beautiful that people have something that brings them hope, that brings them comfort, because life can be difficult sometimes, can't it?
Oh, yeah.
And that's how you're saying you found this, and it brought you a lot of, did it bring you focus?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And I think with each stone, when you're kind of getting it as well, it's kind of, you're setting an intention in your mind. If you're, say, looking for something for happiness, for example, and you get a specific stone, you're saying, this is going to bring me happiness. You're also then focusing your intention there. And I think that's a big part of it as well.
That is right. And that is very clever, what you've just picked up on there, because it's, in a sense, it's like manifestation, isn't it? And again, not an area that I'm really an expert in, but we did have Roxy Nafusi on, who, you know, manifesting queen's absolutely fab. And she really wet me whistle, G. Like, I got really fired up talking about it, just like I am getting fired up talking about the crystals, you know? And I think it's amazing. Like, a lot of people think manifesting is just being like, oh, I really want a bigger house, or I really want to meet the man of my dreams this year, so I'm going to make it happen in my head. And that's not what it is, actually, is it? Like, it's far more than that. And you're right. Like, the first step is setting an intention. And if you're going out and actively sort of, I don't know, but like buying a crystal, finding one, whatever, that is specifically for happiness or love or health or whatever, that's your first step to setting that intention, isn't it?
Definitely manifesting. And this is what I've said to everyone, and where people can get confused. Like, I own a crystal business. I firmly believe in it, but I've always said, like, I don't think going and buying a rock is going to change your life. I really don't think it is. I think the most powerful tool for like positive change in your life and attracting things starts with you and your mind and getting it in the right place. But crystals are there simply to like really amplify that journey for you. I think that's what people need to understand as well.
And that's important. It really is. But I completely understand what you're saying, and I can see how it can be a step on the way to getting what you want out of life, you know. Has it worked for you, babe? Like, in terms of like powerful manifestation, like, are you look happy, you look gorgeous, and you're clearly doing what you love. So, you're welcome, mate. Call a spade a spade.
Yeah, my life has completely done is it a 360 or 180? I think it's a 180.
I always ask myself this question, because if you went 360, you'd go back to where you started. So I think it's 180.
Yeah, it's done a 360, 180 black flip, fucking spin around. Like, it is, like, you could sit there literally to me like a few years ago. I was actually saying this to my boyfriend earlier. I was like, if you could sit me down earlier and be like, you're coming on Vicky Pattison's podcast and you're talking about a book you've written and you're talking about what you've done, I would have been like, as if, like, it's crazy how quickly life can come at you. But no, I'm in definitely the happiest place I've ever been. But I also feel proud of that, because I feel like I've really put in the work to get there. And when you start from fucking rock bottom, like, I know you'll understand this, I know you've had struggles and stuff with your mental health and whatnot, like, you really got to pick yourself up on the floor, and that takes a lot of fucking work. So taking that first step is the hardest part, but it's so rewarding in the end.
So not only do you believe in the power of these, like you chat on your TikTok about it, you also sell the crystals in like beautiful jewelry form.
Yeah, I feel like I mean, as a person that is the itty bitty titty committee, I don't walk around wearing bras ever. So a lot of people wear on their bras, and I love having them in my home as well. But I feel like jewelry is such a nice way to be able to incorporate it into your daily life. And as well as that, my dad is a jeweler. So in lockdown, actually, when I literally had no fucking clue what I was doing, he let me come and like sit in with him like a day a week and do his paperwork and his admin just to make a bit of cash to get by. And that's and this is why I'm such a firm believer in everything happens for a reason, because at that time I was so low and I was manifesting some sense of purpose without even realizing it. I was like, I'm finding my purpose. Like, this is a positive time. Great. And I was looking at creating these necklaces, these pieces of jewelry. And then I thought, and I was really getting back into the crystals at the time. And I was like, I wonder if I could incorporate the two somehow and make my own business. And obviously I kind of made the TikTok in the beginning to support that, not knowing it would absolutely take off. And now I've got the business, which, like I say, it feeds your bank account, but it also feeds my soul, and the TikTok side of things, which I don't make any money from. I just do it because I purely really enjoy it. Yeah. So, yeah.
Do crystals work better, G, when they're actually on your body? Is there something like keeping them close to your skin or close to your heart that helps it be like a constant reminder of what you're actually wanting and going for?
I personally think so. I mean, if you want to get into like the details of it as well, crystals, depending on the shape of them as well, have very different influences. So, for example, like a sphere, like a crystal sphere is meant to make you feel like more connected to the earth, like more hot. people use certain crystals like towers, for example, like with the points to manifest, because it's believed that that helps focus the energy of the crystal.
Okay.
And my necklaces, for example, I don't know if you can see, but they're made in like they're like mini tower points. So it's like pointing the energy back into yourself. So I designed it all with intention of it working the best it can. We need to get you kitted up, mate.
I was just going to say, like, I am such a sucker for a lovely piece of jewellery, babe. And I like to layer on bikinis in the summer. So something that would be amazing. What's your best seller? What are people most looking for?
Well, people love carnelian, I think, because it's massive on TikTok at the moment. It's a big stone for like, which I love at the moment. It's so much the generation of empowerment and feeling yourself and being confident. And it's very much a stone for that, as well as probably the one I've got on, Labradorite as well, and malachite, which is the stone of transformation. But I think what made these ones really successful is I always found growing up that I didn't want these big clunky, like it's some people's style, but it wasn't mine, like big hippie looking, like the cages and all sorts like that. They are amazing, but I wanted things that I could wear on like nights out and feel comfortable and whatever. So that was kind of my idea in mind.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's absolutely beautiful, babe. So that's really interesting, though, because when I asked that question, I thought you were just definitely going to say like, oh, everyone's just after the stone that helps you find the perfect fella or something. But it's lovely that people are after ones that are more about empowerment and transformation. Like I think that's a really positive shift in terms of female mindset. Do you not?
Yeah. And I think that's my audience specifically as well, just because I point confused to fucking talk about. I mean, attracting the right soulmate, I think, is an amazing thing to talk about, and I'll bang on about that till the cows come home. But at the beginning, I noticed, especially in the TikTok space, there was, and I could have probably grown a lot quicker had I gone down the path of being like, how to get an ex back. But it's just so not what I stand for.
It's toxic, isn't it? It is toxic.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, I maybe if that ex was really great, maybe you cheated and fucked up a bit, maybe. But I think a lot of people, a lot of girls especially, which is really sad, are operating out of this place of insecurity where they feel like they need someone to complete them. But what I bang on about, and it's so cliche, is how when you really are feeling yourself and at your best, that is when a person that matches your energy is going to walk in.
Yeah.
And that's not to say like you can't find the person, not be completely healed. Like God knows, I've found my boyfriend now, and I'm suddenly all these issues are coming up and like healing that I need to do, because I'm like, oh, I'm not used to niceness. But at least from a sense of self-worth of knowing what you deserve, even if you don't fully feel it yet, you need to know that you deserve good things.
No, you're so right. There's this idea, I think, within society, and I think we perpetuate it actually as women unknowingly, that you are in fact half a person unless you are loved by a significant other. And that's not true. Instead of trying to find that person to complete, we should be working on ourselves to become a full person, you know? Like, and I'm not saying that we're lacking in any sense, but we can all do with self-improvement. We can all do with growth, and whether that's expanding our minds, whether that's traveling, whether it's, you know, getting a bigger friendship circle, getting out of our comfort zone, whatever it is, like we could all do with like working on ourselves before we try and invest all of this energy in finding a significant other. Because it's nice. Don't get us wrong. I love Erkan most days. Some days he gets right on me tits. But yeah, I, again, same as you, mate. I think I was ready to meet him. I think I was at a time in my life where I'd experienced a bit of heartache and gone through some, you know, quite hard times. And actually I'd worked on myself, was feeling strong, was feeling confident, was feeling ready to be loved. And that's when he came into it. I suppose do you think I manifested him in that sense?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, manifestation, I think TikTok and all this stuff can actually make it seem really confusing, but I think bringing it back to its simple forms, it's just you get what the energy you put out. And this is what I was doing. Like, I was so self-destructive, and I really didn't have high opinions of myself. And the way I spoke to myself on a day-to-day basis was so toxic and not nice. And that's so normal for so many people. And so the energy I'm putting out is like, I'm not worthy, blah, blah, blah. I was attracting men or people into my life that viewed me the same way. Yeah. She treated me the same way I treated myself. And it's sad, but it's true. And I think you just got to get to the point where it's not even about being so obsessed with yourself and loving yourself, but being comfortable on your own. It's a subject to me that I was so foreign to, being in a relationship for so long, that when I was first single, I was so uncomfortable being in my own presence. I didn't know I felt like I needed that external validation. But just being like, and also now I'm in a really happy relationship, but I know deep down that if that ended for whatever reason, I would be okay. And it doesn't like it's not nice, but it's not like soul crushing. I would pass away if that person left. I'm actually whole on my own and I do like my own company, but that took a long time to get to that place.
It does, mate. And I think feeling comfortable in your own skin and having a sense of self-worth, like they're really difficult things to achieve, especially just because we've been conditioned to not like ourselves, you know, to compare. Exactly. Yeah. So it's a really difficult journey, and it is sometimes far easier to just jump on a date app or fucking get on a night out and like pull a fella or, you know, initiate a conversation and get the validation that way. But the hard work, putting in the graft with yourself, is far more rewarding than spending fucking 3 years with some fella who still lives in his Mars box room once and a sock and has no fucking idea about his finances.
Exactly. And it's just like that instant gratification as well, isn't it? Like going, that's so fun. And that if that's what you want to do, then fine. But it's when it's coming, like I say, like feeding that place of lack. But if you're like that instant gratification of, and this is something I was so guilty for, like ordering that takeaway, getting with that guy just because instantly it'd make it feel better. But then when that's all gone and done, you're fucking hanging out your ass the next day in someone else's bed, you're like, oh, I feel shit again now. Like
you feel worse.
Yeah.
You feel worse. Oh, you know what, lass? I feel like there'll be plenty of women listening to this who potentially are in some destructive cycles, who aren't living their best lives, who are trapped in that instant gratification, like sort of mindset. What advice would you give them to break that cycle, to get what they deserve out of life?
I think learning more about yourself is so important, and starting from basics. Like what I've learned along my journey is that your brain is so used to comfort zones. Your brain enjoys comfort zones. So even if they're destructive, trying to form new habits is really hard at the beginning. And I noticed this going into whatever new romantic connections, because my old relationship was so destructive, my brain would try to instantly create problems because it's used to that.
Because that's what it knows. That's what it thinks love is. Honestly, I was exactly the same. When I first was going out with Erkan, I was like, well, we haven't rowed. Like, he's not hiding his phone. Like, he's not. Yeah, literally, this was me, mate. So I fucking sat there like a witch, and I was like, right, what am I going to cause a fight with him about? Because that's what I thought love was. I thought love had to hurt. Isn't it terrible? Yeah. Oh, mate, so many parallels.
Even like when you're trying to start any new habit, like eating healthy if you're used to not, or even like recovering from eating, sort of eating more, like it's all what you're used to. And venturing out for that is so uncomfortable for the brain to understand, because your brain is there to help you survive. And so it's like this
there to keep you safe.
So I just have to literally detach myself from my own thinking sometimes and go, no, this is just a chemical reaction, and I'm uncomfortable because this is new and exciting. But then remind yourself why you're doing it, and keeping yourself in check is the most important thing. But being kind to yourself along the way as well is also very important.
It's like being the boss of your own brain is so hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you're right. It tries to keep you, it thinks it's doing the right thing, and it tries to keep you safe. But unfortunately, sometimes those learned toxic behaviors.
So being aware for me was just the biggest turning point. Understanding why I thought that way rather than just thinking it made it a lot easier to kind of move forward.
No, I love that. I feel like I'm really pleased you're in a good place, G.
Oh, thank you.
And I feel like you are helping women. Even just with that like little bit of advice there, I think that's great. Being the boss of your own brain, convincing yourself to get out of your comfort zone, being kind, they're all such important and great bits of advice.
Thank you, Vic.
You're so welcome. Right, mate, I'm going to nip and have a wee. I always need a wee. And then in part 2, we can talk all about your book, all about your TikTok, and all about some crystals. I'm definitely going to get one. I fucking need one.
I get sent off first class in the post.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to part 2 of Vicky, Pattison, The Secret To. I am joined by the gorgeous Georgina Easterbrook. You are Athena Crystals on TikTok, is that right? If people want to find you. God, I feel like that's important because your following on there is huge, isn't it?
I feel like Hannah Montana. I feel like I'm living a double life. People don't know what it is, because Athena's Crystals is the name of my crystal business. And then when I started the TikTok, I wanted to be around that. But now it's like a whole persona and personality. I'm getting a bit carried away.
Is it like your Sasha Fierce?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, the TikTok following's been madness. I mean, I think I just started it as a bit of fun. I think that's why it did well, because it was just authentic, and I wasn't trying to. I was obviously trying to get a bit of a platform in the sense of promoting my work, but then it became something entirely different. And I think it's been just over a year now, and we're at just over 1 million, which is so exciting.
Unreal, lass. Like, that is incredible. No, but also though, like, I feel you've got to give yourself some credit, because I'm trying to grow a TikTok and I just assumed, oh, I've got 5 million followers on Instagram. They'll all just go over and follow us on TikTok and it'll be class. And it's a totally different medium and a totally different platform. And it hasn't worked like that. So hats off to you, girl. You're obviously giving people content that they really want. And that's a true, like, a testament to what you're doing.
Thank you.
And as well, anyone who I've had on who's been successful within the TikTok space has said the same thing. Like, they're putting out organic stuff that they love, and that's what people respond well to. So just keep being you.
Oh, thank you,
yeah, oh no, so I mean it, fuck Mel. Right, before we go any further, before you joined this Zoom, my producer was telling me a story about how she was out with her mates, and I hope I get this right, otherwise I'm going to get bollocked. But yeah, she was out with her pals, and one of her mates was like, "Oh, you need to pull tonight." Blah 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 blah. You should apparently. I think she'd recently been broke up with. Anyway, so our mate shoved a bit of crystal quartz down her bra. And a rose quartz.
Yeah.
I don't know. Was it rose? Anyway, she pulled that night, and when she took the fella home, I think she knew him already. I just want to clarify that with everybody. But they'd had a bit of a connection beforehand. But this was the real turning point. Anyway, when she took him home, she took off her bra. The rose quartz fell out, and she had to explain to her.
That's a rookie mistake. Yeah. That's a sign it's done its work.
So is that what that is for? Like, could rose quartz be a bit of like a romantic sort of
rose quartz is probably the most famous one known for attracting a soulmate. It's for love and self-love. So
I don't know if he was a soulmate. I just think he might have been a shag.
Right, he was a soulmate. You know how the beer goggles get you like, oh, you're my husband.
She's gonna kill me. Mate, please tell me about. So, okay, right. So that works for that. I am, right. If I was gonna come to you and be like, Jay, I really want a crystal. I'm starting off like the first ever one. What should I probably get? Like, so what am I? I'm a bit impatient. I'm just giving you all my problems now.
I love it.
Do you love it? Okay. So I'm not just a bit impatient. I'm really impatient. I've just been to the bank this morning. I was total arsehole to the woman. So
I saw that Metro. I'm having the same fucking issues with them.
I mean, they are torture. I'm not going to use this platform to slag them off, but Metro Bank, what is wrong with you? But Gloria in the Enfield branch got it the day, and I'm really sorry, Gloria. You didn't deserve that. You were great in the end. So right, I'm impatient. I'm very anxious. I'm really anxious. It's starting to get a little bit out of control, actually, and it's becoming debilitating, and it's making me really sad. Anyway, that's that. This is turning into a therapy session. I'm really sorry. I have really bad periods. That's the emotion side of things. Like, I cry a lot. I've just cried actually before you joined, because I read that Lewis Capaldi's got Tourette's, and I know I cried, and apparently he couldn't finish his song, and I'm gonna cry again. But then all these audience sang it for him instead, so that got me really in the feels. So I'm very emotional. I really anxious, and I'm impatient. What crystal should I get?
Okay, so for that, I would choose Sodalite, which is like this bluey, blacky, white kind of stone, and that's known as the stone of logic. And it's all for like kind of calming your nervous system. It's the kind of my go-to one that I recommend for people that struggle with anxiety of any kind, because it helps you think from a state of logic rather than emotion. And I'm actually reading an interesting book at the moment. It's called The Chimp Paradox. I think it's quite well known.
Yes, Erkan was reading it.
Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah, I love that. And it's all about how you have the different parts of your brain, and you have your human, which is you, and your chimp, which is just like, it's an emotional system, but it's not actually you. That's why you find yourself battling in your head a lot. Like I literally go, I feel like this. My brain's going, no, that's not how it is.
Yeah.
And you literally do have these two sides of your brain. And that stone specifically helps you think with that more logical reasoning side of your brain, because anxiety feeds off of like jumping to conclusions based on past situations of what we already know, as a result of trying to keep you safe, which is again what we were talking about earlier. But so like for you, for sure. Also, what's your star sign? I forgot to ask.
I'm a Scorpio. Oh, that's so nice, because normally I'm really hesitant to tell people that, because every time I've told people that, they're just like, oh, Scorpios are such arseholes. Like,
I'm so misunderstood. No,
I mean, I
no.
can be an arsehole.
No,
Don't get
I
me
think
wrong.
Scorpios are like hard-faced cows, but our emotions run so deep, and they have a sting in their tail because they're just they know that when they feel pain, they feel pain.
Yeah.
So they have a lot of barriers kind of up. So do I love. So I would definitely recommend that for you.
Okay, so that's the stone I'm going to get. Right. Okay, so for everybody listening who's like invested now, who's thinking, yes, this girl knows her stuff. I want a crystal. I've got X, Y, and Z. I'm going to list a couple. I'm going to fire a couple like probably quite common ones at you, and you tell us what crystals people should be getting. Okay?
I'm ready.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Do you need a stretch, Jay? Get a stretch. Okay, let's go. Right. So we've obviously said the one for anxiety is
Sodalite.
Sodalite. Got it. Okay. Next one. Somebody looking for love.
Rose quartz.
Rose quartz.
Love and self-love. Yeah, love that one.
Love that one. Right. Somebody looking to have a little bit more belief in themselves.
Oh, carnelian. That's the stone of the confidence, and also it helps you speak your mind a bit more.
Okay. Somebody looking to have a little bit more motivation. This is the one I'm fucking getting for Erkan.
Oh, motivation. I'd say red jasper.
Red jasper.
A lot of men love red jasper as well. And do you know what? It actually helps your sex life massively as well. Don't know if you need that, but it helps apparently men last longer in the bedroom. So.
Red jasper is great though. It sounds like a cheeky cocktail or a shot or something you'd get in a fancy bar.
It's like, I think men feel more comfortable wearing it as well, especially straight away, because it's like a bit more like a masculine stone. Like it's like a brick. You know how men like bricks and like building things. It's not like some big fancy pink sparkly situation. So yeah.
Okay, so he needs a red jasper. I needed what was mine again?
Right.
That's it. Right. Finally, what about someone who's struggling with positivity? You know, mine's a bit of a tough place, is feeling a bit low.
I would say sunstone is the ultimate stone for happiness, like hence the name, but it like shines a light on all areas of your life that you're not feeling so positive and tries to bring positivity back into it. But so many crystals have like this kind of general positive energy, but if it's specifically for that, I would say sunstone. Yeah.
I think that's so good, mate. It really does feel like there's proper something for everybody.
Yeah, no, there is. And that's why I love it, because people come to me and I sometimes feel like I shouldn't be allowed to be giving this advice because we're quite heavy problems. And that's a nice thing about the TikTok platform is people feel like it can be damaging, but also good, but people feel like they know you and they can open up to you because you're not a friend or a family member, and people get quite personal and really talk about their lives. And that I think it in itself is helping, just even getting it out there and understanding that you have issues you want to work on, but there really is something for every area of your life.
And what is that what you do specifically on the TikTok, mate? Like, do people write, like, is it like a live thing? I'm so sorry, I'm not very good on TikTok.
No, it's more so I'll direct people. It's more for people probably looking to buy crystals, and then they'll probably be buying it from me, where they'll then go over. My business Instagram account is linked on my TikTok, so people will find me there, normally DM me through there, because on TikTok, and I really take it upon myself to want to read through all the messages. So if it was through TikTok comments, I try not to respond to them so much, because I don't want people to be reliant on that. And if people want genuine, real advice, like message me on Instagram, because I'm way more likely to see it on there.
Oh, well, that's a good bit of advice, mate. We've talked loads about like the positivity and the good sides of crystals and stuff, but is there any ones that can be used? Like, is there any evil crystals? Like, is there anything that can be used for more negative things?
I mean, I wouldn't say there's any so evil. I mean, people's intentions is the main thing. Say if you like getting a crystal and you're specifically trying to get it with the intention of, say, bringing someone down or whatever, yeah. I would say most people in the crystal space are better than that, no, kinder than that, and they're more kind of there for themselves. But there are ones that have specific negative connotations, moldavite being the main one.
Yeah, I'd heard about that. It gets a little bit of a bad reputation, doesn't it? Yeah. Why?
It's actually way more powerful, I believe, than a crystal, because it's not technically a crystal. It's a stone that comes from a meteorite. So
shit.
It's way more rare and way more expensive, but it's meant to start rapid change in your life. It's meant to eventually put you on the right path, but so it removes anything that's not for you. So that can then look like a breakup, losing your job, or like all these a catastrophic series of events that eventually will benefit you, like character building. But a lot of people steer away from it for that reason. They're not ready for all of this change, and that's so fair. And that's why I always recommend malachite for those people, which also gets a bit of a bad rep, but it's known as the crystal for transformation, but it's just a bit of a smoother process, not so intense.
And what about, so once you get your crystal, are you just set? Like that's you've got your little lucky charm, you've got your like powerful manifestation, you've got your like, or do you have to like recharge it? Because I can't imagine you plug it into a USB port or anything.
No, it's different for everyone. Like everyone has their own kind of beliefs. I think crystals, I mean, the belief that you have to recharge them is because they work so hard, and it's believed that they get depleted of their energy. So you want to charge them. And that's normally done like in moonlight or bringing them back to nature. People put them in the ground or in the sunlight, depending on the crystal. But I personally believe that they've been around for so long, they don't get really that affected by our energies that much. I just think your general, with all this spiritual stuff, your general intuition should take over. So when I get crystals, I'm like, oh, I feel like this is vibing with me. I don't need to do anything with it. But my general rule of thumb, just because I'm quite witchy and into astrology, all the moon cycles, all of that, and it's just something I feel personally drawn to do, is I always leave them out under a full moon, like under the moonlight, just to kind of give them a little refresh.
Give them a little boost.
A little zhuzh.
You've written a book, mate, and that is out now, I believe, when this podcast will come out. It's called The Crystal Path. Do you want to tell me a little bit about it?
Oh, I'm so excited. It's basically everything we've been speaking about. So this was the biggest and best thing I'm most proud of ever, because even at school, like I thought maybe one route I could go down was writing, and I always used to write like little storybooks when I was a kid. So the fact that this has come about is mental. But basically I got approached by Penguin somewhat through my
Penguin as well. Honestly, babe, I'll always, do you know, Penguin books are just the best, aren't they? Roxy did hers with them as well, and I love it so much.
No, I think I thought I was being pranked when I got that email. I was only about like, I think 200,000 followers at that time. But weirdly, at the time I was wearing my green aventurine necklace, and that's known as the Stone of Opportunity.
Love that.
And I'd done like a gratitude meditation thing the day before, and I'd sat there and like thought about all the opportunities that I was grateful for, and you attract more of that. And the next day I got an email from Penguin just being like, would you be, and all it said in it was, would you be interested in writing a book? And I thought, I'm being pranked, someone's pranking me. And then I went to the head office for a meeting. I went, no, I'm not. But it's basic. And they said, what kind, and they were very open. They were like, what kind of thing would you want to write about? And I obviously am massively being into crystals and mindset. It's like an accumulation of everything I've learned, getting from that really bad, dark place to now, and everything I wish I could have had in one place. It's all to do with mindset, like self-discovery, building your confidence, how to use crystals in each area of your life. So the book is split into 7 chapters. So like money, happiness, manifestation, healing, as well as like love and self-love. So you can really focus on each areas of your life, and like all the mindset stuff you can do, as well as crystal practices and rituals to make that part of your life the best it can be.
It sounds amazing, mate. Honestly, so sort of like self-help, but through crystals, right?
Yeah, I hope people read it, and by the end of it, they really know so much more about themselves, but also then have the tools to go and use crystals, whether they're a beginner or like they know a bit about it but want to get more deeply into it. They can read that book and be like, yeah, I know what I'm doing now.
Love it, mate. Honestly, I'm so excited for you. I'm going to definitely get a crystal. I'm going to definitely get a copy. And I'm consider me converted, you know. I mean, I was never a skeptic anyway. Like, I'm pretty open to all sorts of things. And like I said, I love it when anything helps anybody, and you know, people feel like they've got a sense of belief. But no, I'm really into this now.
Oh, I'd love to, try it out and then see how you find it. It doesn't have to be a complete lifestyle way of living, but it's something you can incorporate into your daily life. And they look so beautiful anyway.
Can I get I'm definitely going to get the old Jasper for Urkan, and I'm going to get the one. Shall I get the one for anxiety, do you think?
Yeah, so delight. And then I can, we'll chat after this, and I'll sort you out with two that I think would be really good for you.
Yeah, I also like the one you said about like the good opportunities one that you had on. That could be quite nice. Really? And I am a pretty grateful bear. So that could be, amazing. I'm so excited for you. I'm so happy. Before I let you go, because I know you're a busy lady, I hear you talk a lot about like dark feminine energy, and I'm half really intrigued by this, half a little bit intimidated. I don't feel like I have any dark feminine energy.
Love this. You definitely do. Yeah.
Do I?
Yeah. Yes. So shall I explain a bit about it? That this plant is like my mic. Hello. But basically, feminine energy in itself is like a whole kind of thing, but light feminine energy is kind of more the side of it that's very much embraced by society and encouraged. So more like being that comforting, nurturing kind of woman and looking after others. And that can sometimes come at the detriment of you as a woman, because you're kind of expected by society to abandon your own needs to suit other people. And in this society specifically, it is all based around masculine energy. And masculine energy is more about being proactive, doing, logic, wanting to conquer. Like, that is how our society functions, on masculine energy. And so dark feminine energy it's a huge part of feminine energy, but it's been suppressed over years of like patriarchal conditioning. And it's that side of like addressing our needs, that feminine like rage and inner
I've got plenty of that, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Like dark emotion and addressing our needs and what we need, which is something that has been abandoned a long time ago, because it's almost looked at, if a woman does that, as like selfish, for explaining why she needs to be treated a certain way and setting boundaries of, no, I can't do that for you because I've got my own shit to do. So embracing your dark feminine side is about unlocking your true power by being in both your light and dark feminine. You can be that kind of soft, nurturing side, but you don't let people walk all over you, and you know your worth and what you deserve. So it's about embodying that both, neither are good or bad. It's just two sides of a coin. And I think women should really embrace both parts, because they're both beautiful.
And you're so right. Like, the women who are often praised in sort of the media, or like, when you hear, like, I often hear like Erkan's pals talking about the birds and stuff. And whenever there's compliments to be given, it's always like when a woman's really, submissive or docile, or like, oh, she's so sweet, she's so this, she's so that, which is great. I'm not saying anything derogatory about those women at all, but like, where's the like, oh, she's so powerful. Yeah, she's amazing.
It's like she's someone else, isn't it? It's mad. I found this on my Instagram recently. I love my boyfriend, but I did a hard launch and was like, ladies and gentlemen, I'm in a relationship, here we are. And that post blew the fight up. And I mean, it was only my personal Instagram, so not loads, but it was like my most liked photo on Instagram. And then I'd like have announced my book on the same Instagram. Like, oh, I've just written a book.
Yeah.
Radio silence. And I'm like, is this not an achievement that's more so? But that's just society. And I think it's about, as long as you feel it in yourself, then who the fuck cares? But
you're so right. That is such I forever like have been trying so hard to be recognized as something other than just like, Vicky Pattison from Geordie Shore. And it doesn't matter how many Sunday Times bestsellers or how many like jungles or how many panel shows or podcasts or whatever I do, like, they still just want to write about me love life, or like sort of Geordie Shore or whatever, they want to, it's mad that that's the stuff they want to focus on. Yet when you're making such big waves in the space of business or, like profession, it's disappointing, but it is the way we've been conditioned to see women, isn't it?
And I hope it's changing. I do believe it's changing. And I don't think it has to be completely opposite, like controversial. I love the difference between masculine and feminine energy. And I have no problem being like to my boyfriend, like even this before, I was like, I have a podcast mic, hasn't worked. Please help me set this up. I can't, the bins is not for me. You can take those bins out as much as you like. But I think, so I love both those contrasts, but I think as feminine, we should have those sides of us and also take pride in the fact that we are amazing maternal creatures that like to look after other people. There's no pride in that, but it's not taking that step too far and allowing ourselves to be walked all over,
Babe, you have been such a delight to have on this podcast. Like, it's so interesting for me to learn something I didn't know, and hopefully a lot of my followers and listeners will feel the same way. And I can see why you're smashing it and you're successful. This is you're passionate about what you do, and that's important. So yeah,
thank you. That means so much.
No, honestly, you didn't need me, mate. You got penguin, fucking hell. But I just wanted to, before you go here, Vicky Pattison, The Secret too, we always ask our gorgeous guests to give our lovely listeners a little like pearl of wisdom. And for me, what has stuck out about this chat, I didn't know about dark feminine energy, like I had no clue about it at all. But hearing you explain the differences and stuff, it's so interesting, and it's so important for women to harness that, to be proud of it, to be aware of it. So I want to know what your secret was to owning your dark feminine energy?
100% boundaries. That was something I struggled with so much, and so many women and people generally, but struggle with, because like I said earlier, they feel like what love looks like and the secret to your worth is bending over backwards to help somebody else. And they look for praise for that. And you do get praise for that, but it's at the detriment to yourself. But boundaries. So, and being firm but fair with people. So being able to say no. I've really struggled with that. If someone needed my help for something, if something's going to cost you your time, your energy, and drain you in a negative way, it's okay to say no. And if someone's speaking to you a certain way, it's okay to say, and this is something I really struggled with in my last relationship, but I appreciate what you're saying, but I don't appreciate your tone and how you're talking to me. And when you want to speak to me in a reasonable way, then we can talk. And otherwise I'm leaving this conversation. It's not about arguing with people. Yeah. It's about asserting how you feel, and people can either agree with that or they can be removed from your life. And that's it.
It sounds to me as though, and I'm going back to your book here, and I know you've got the 7 steps in there, but it sounds to me as though, like, embracing that dark feminine energy, you really are taking a step to unlocking your true power, aren't you, as a woman?
Yeah, and that's actually on the front of the book. It says like the 7-step guide to unlocking your true power. And in the confidence and transformation chapter, we go massively into feminine energy, dark feminine energy, crystals that can help you step into that, like mindset tools that can help you step into that, as well as that there's like the 13 feminine archetypes, and that breaks down feminine energy into 13 different categories of behavior. And then you can see what you relate to and how you can then use that persona with crystals to kind of step into your energy. Because there's also different types of females. You get like alpha females, you get females that are that more maternal, or my particular archetype is about being kind of like fun and childlike, but also having that more like sensual side. Like it's a bit of both.
I can see that.
Yeah, you can.
I can see that.
And it like I relate it to like famous women in history and how they really. Yeah,
I would love this. Oh my God. Right. So if what feminine energy do you think I have, like, just off this chat?
Oh, I don't know. You give me like boss vibes.
Yes, I did that.
Yeah, vibes.
Oh, I love that. And then what woman from history has the same one? I bet you're going to say someone like fucking Anne Boleyn, are you?
I think it's Kim Kardashian.
Oh, that's well better.
Yeah, I mean, you're very comfortable like in the spotlight, but you also have that like understanding, down to earth, side of you, which I love.
Gee, you're so nice, and this has been such a gorgeous chat. Like, I'm really excited to read your book, and I just wish you every success going forward, mate.
Thank you.
You're welcome.